So I'm just going to recap a few of the days and the dates leading into race day, and then I'll go into each stage more specifically. So on October the 28th, I arrived from New Zealand, and at the same time, the rest of Lahui arrived from Hawaii. So we arrived about 10 p.m. at night, and we were lucky enough to stay with Te Moana Taputu's family, Tati Glow, and we're always greeted with, the most heartwarming welcomes and the most amazing food, including poisson cru, which is raw fish of Tahiti, before we took our flight to Huahine at around 2:30 p.m. And when we arrived to Huahine, we stayed with Sophie and her family at her amazing beachside home. She's always very welcoming too, and we get spoiled with food there, and yeah, just the kindness and the ability to host, over 12 of us paddlers and coaches and team is just amazing. So big thank you to Sophie and her family. 30th of October, we enjoyed more food. Even got the privilege of having banana pancakes for breakfast, eggs and things. But this day was the official canoe weighing day. So your canoe has to be a minimum of 150 kgs. So if it's less than that, you have to put weight in. So we got our canoe weighed and we rigged it up for the first time. And then we went out for a little 30-minute blending session, just with a few sprints and starts tied on to the end. In the afternoon, a few of us went for a light 45-minute jog. This was probably more so to calm nerves than anything, because you feel like you're not doing enough, but you probably should just rest anyway. But you're kind of eating a lot because you're preparing for the race, but you kind of want to burn some energy as well. So we went for a light jog. Still 2 days out from the first day. So yeah, we did that. And then October 31st, so the day before the first race day, we prepared the canoe further for race day, including putting on the race stickers, setting up our drink systems, making any last adjustments to the rigging. We also registered for the race, which required all of our IDs, and then bracelets were given to the starting 6 paddlers, because between each day you have to get your bracelet cut off and put onto the next paddler if you're changing, and so forth. So that's the system that they do there. We did one more paddle that day too. This is one day before the race day with Quah, because he had just arrived that day, and we wanted to test our first day combination. So we did another little 30-minute paddle, but this time we headed up and a little bit into the headwind, turned around and surfed home, just to practice a little bit of our feeling, and then went home and fueled up again at Sophie's. So November 1st, stage 1 of the Hawaiki Nui Va'a, Huahine to Raiatea, which is about 48 kilometers, I believe, or 46 or something like that, around that, 48 kilometers. So the lineup for that day was 1, Hunter, myself, Paia, Kala, Kaihe, and Tuarongo. Now, the wind was actually really good for stage 1. So the reason I say that is because it was relatively straight compared to previous years. It was still a challenging angle because it was slightly from the left, which is kind of natural for that wind. But to put it in perspective, compared to last year, times were at least 40 minutes faster than they were last year, because last year's wind was real side wind from the right hand side. This year was more straight, but it was a little bit from the left, so it was still a little bit difficult. But we had a really good start and avoided a lot of mishaps, especially around the turning buoys. We spotted a lot of other canoes, like Tahiti got caught on the buoy and stuff like that, so we were pretty happy to get through unscathed. and we found really good rhythm in the surf. We surfed well, and I think our line was pretty good too. But you know, throughout the race, you always go through tough patches, as you do, and sometimes you're not sure if it's like our energy levels or if it's just a really strong bit of current, or you know, we might be tacking against the surf a little bit to improve our line or something like that. So you know, there's moments of tough struggles in the race, but then there's moments where you just start surfing and connecting and having fun. So personally, the only minor problem that I had during the race was probably in the last like few kilometers, where we entered the pass. We made it to the pass of Raiatea, and as soon as we got in, I actually started cramping. So I was starting to get cramping in my elbows and even in my core, in my upper core, abdomen, and then even a little bit in my chest. So I had to quickly take a gel and some fluids to prevent that from happening. And luckily, you know, that didn't affect us too much or for too long. So we were able to maintain our position quite comfortably, and we finished 10th, which we were pretty happy with. Always great to finish in the top 10, but obviously you always want to aim high. You always want to aim to win. And if you fall short, then that's just racing. So but yeah, happy with our top 10 placing. Unfortunately, on this day we lost our friend and champion Kouider. He started the race with his brother Steve Tehutata and Team Pire, but was removed from the canoe quite early, I think in the first 10 minutes, due to a health event, and unfortunately he passed away later on that night. So our thoughts, you know, and our prayers continue to be with him and his family. In Māori cosmology or Māori culture, we always reference the word Hawaiki, which is quite ironic because we're doing a race called the Hawaiki Nui. And Hawaiki refers to the legendary homeland and ancestral origin of Māori people and other Polynesian cultures. To us, it's like the spiritual realm, a mythical place from where our cultures originated, and it holds great significance in Māori mythology because it was basically the place that we came from, you know. But it's also the place that we believe is where spirits return to after death, representing both the origin of life and the final destination. So without a doubt, you know, that day marked the beginning of Kevin's final journey to the land of Hawaiki. So stage 2 of the Hawaiki Nui on November the 2nd. So this race is Raiatea to Taha. So this is one of the shortest races, 26 kilometers or thereabouts. I always forget. But it's also one of the hardest because of how hot it can get and how intense it is. So yeah, it's the lineup for this day was Tristan, Riley, Quah, Keith, Kouider for his second course, and then Travis Grant steering. Now the day was challenging for everyone because, you know, after the loss of Kouider, but to honor his memory, I think Viper Va'a, or Alex from Viper, made some stickers for Kevin that everyone could put on their canoe in support of Kevin, you know, to motivate everyone to race hard, you know, with his name on the canoe. So we made some changes on day 2. We switched out 5 paddlers, keeping Kouider in for his final leg of the week. You know, he already had raced day 1, so I think he knew that this was likely going to be his last one. So the boys had a strong start, and they were kind of consistently around the top 15. But the major test for day 2 is dealing with the intense boat wake created by support boats, mostly traveling on the left side. So the wave comes on the armor side, so it makes it quite difficult to navigate because it's quite tippy. And but I think Travis Grant, even though he hasn't steered that day, he did quite well and had good judgment in where to place the canoe, because if you're too close to the boats, the wake can get quite chaotic and quite hard to control. But if you're too far away and you're close to the land, then you kind of don't maximize your surfing opportunities. But I would say Travis kind of went right in the middle of both, and so he kind of got the best of both worlds. Overall, at the end of the day, the boys maintained 11th place in the general rankings for the day, which was awesome. So only to, day 1 were 10th over general, and then day 2 were 11th general. So that was a really good effort by the boys, and we were pretty stoked to come out unscathed. Canoe was all good, and no damage inflicted. We during the races, after race 1, we stayed on catamarans. So pretty awesome way to see the islands, to race and recover between legs, chilling out on the catamaran, eating and enjoying each other's company. So just thought it was worth noting that there. Now we move on to stage 3, November the 3rd, the last leg of the Hawaiki Nui, Taha to Bora Bora. This race was a little bit longer than normal because of a slightly different finish route. So it was about 60 kilometers in the end. And for this lineup, we had Tristan at 1, Paia 2, me 3, Keith 4, Hunter 5, and Tupuria 6. So this is the biggest and the longest day of all of the 3 races, and it's the final battle to Bora Bora. Unfortunately, our day took a difficult turn quite early on in the race. So right at the start, we found ourselves wedged between 2 canoes on our left, which caused us to collide with the current leaders, Shalva. And while their canoe was all good, our armored suffered a significant crack in the carbon, and at about the 25 kilometer mark, not only by the time we got going again, we were close to the back of the pack. Shell were able to make their way back towards the front, as Shell do, but it was quite hard work for us to get back to that top 15, top 10. And at the 25k mark, we actually felt really heavy, especially our armor was kind of submerging itself in the water, indicating that it was taking on water. So we actually ended up having to change our armor mid-race, and this actually took, I looked at my Garmin data after the race, this actually took upwards of 10 minutes, just purely stopped in a channel floating in the water, for us to, it took us that long to change armors. So you can imagine how many teams passed us in that 10 minutes. However, once we changed the armor, man, straight away we noticed the difference, and our canoe just started surfing. And we actually had a really, really good end to the race. So considering the setback, we managed to, I don't even know how many teams we passed in the end, but we pushed hard all the way to the finish in Bora Bora, and we managed to finish 17th place in the end, despite that 10-minute setback. And our general ranking actually remained 15th place overall. So we finished 15th overall in the Hawaiki Nui, despite that last ama incident. And yeah, you know, just crossing the finish line on the beaches, white sand beaches of Bora Bora, surrounded by people, support boats, everyone cheering you on. You know, that's just a surreal experience. Like it's pretty amazing, you know, when you're exhausted and you've put everything on the line, you've given everything, body and mind. You know, it's pretty awesome to cross that finish line and have it over and done with. You know, it's those moments that make the challenge of the Hawaiki Nui well worth it. Ultimately, OPT actually ended up winning overall. Big congratulations to OPT, super stoked for Te Moana and the boys, Keahi, Mākea, you know, really close with those boys, and they're a young team. So it's cool to see a new generation, new champs. First time OPT has won the Hawaiki Nui in 13 years, I believe. 2010 was the last. I mean, it works in cycles really, so congratulations to OPT. The way that I want to finish this episode is just finishing with a few words for Kouider, our friend who sadly passed away during this race. I prepared this little part. Our friend Kouider had completed his journey, reaching his ultimate destination, Bora Bora. This marked more than just the end of a race. It was his final resting place, where he found peace and tranquility. As we continued our race, Kevin's presence lingered, reminding us of the fragility of life and the strength of the human spirit. His journey to the land of Hawaiki was not just a somber farewell, but a testament to the enduring spirit of the human soul. In the waters of Bora Bora, Kevin found eternal rest, becoming part of the very essence of the island, forever woven into the tapestry of legends and stories. Inspired by his spirit, we pushed forward with unwavering determination, just as he had. Yeah, you. Ride in peace, Kouider. That was for you. And thank you all for listening to this episode recapping the Hawaiki Nui Va'a Race 2023. We'll catch you on the next one. Kia ora.